All right, we are live, only for a little bit. Welcome to another broadcast, live broadcast. I hope you guys having a wonderful day. I hope you had another wonderful weekend. Today is October the 12th, 2025. And we're getting a lot of rain out here in Arizona. We just got off a few days of just nonstop humidity, which I haven't experienced that in a minute out here in the desert state. But it is what it is. But nonetheless, we've had a cool day today. And we just finished a few hours ago. We just finished our course, our seminar, one-day seminar, titled Breaking the Chains, The Journey Beyond Belief. We just finished it. And boy, oh boy, that had so much in it, man. Oh my goodness. I'm amazed I'm still up. We'll talk about it. I'll just mention a little bit about it. I'm actually going to do a pre-release of the book that you guys will be able to order. And it's not up on the site yet, but give me about an hour. I will have it on the site. If you order it between tonight and tomorrow, which will be the 13th, you'll get $5 off. Okay. After that, it goes up to, it's 15 tonight, and then it goes up to 20 tomorrow. All right. I'll have the information right there on our community page. And like I said, give me about an hour after this broadcast, and I'll have that up for you. The class itself, you'll be able to access that. For those who want to buy into the class, you know, we're going to have the class available for you. You know, if you missed the class and you're like, hey, listen, I just want to get the video and the book, we'll have that available too. About in the middle of the week, we'll have that available. Okay. So for those of you who missed it, yes, there will be an opportunity for you to buy in to the recorded version of the class. Okay. So we'll have that up there in a little bit. And big shout out, of course, to everyone who participated today. We had a wonderful time. Testimonies and all that. It was great. It was really great. So if you guys missed it, you really missed it. You really did. I'm not going to even try to be like, oh, that's all right. It's nothing like being live with people and listening to the people. You guys listen to me all the time, but it's always good hearing from you guys. Really, really something really special. And I really appreciate everyone being there. All right, we're going to give it another 30 seconds to get people on board here, and then we're going to get started, okay? All right, we're going to go ahead and get started now. Thank you so much for tuning in to the broadcast. I hope you guys had a great weekend. Like I said, again, we just finished a few hours ago our 5-hour, it was actually turned out to be 6 hours when you added in, you know, the time, the Q&A time afterwards. It was a full day today. My day started about 5:30 a.m. and I've been up ever since. I thought I was going to go to sleep, but I didn't. I got something to eat and went out for a little second around the corner, came back in and just been here and just, you know, doing stuff. But I know I'm going to need to wind it down a little bit. But I wanted to, you know, I wasn't even planning on doing a live, you know, but right before I was going to transition to something else came on my this timeline stuff here, and I was like, wait a minute, what is going on here? And are people talking about this? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But what I'm talking about are all of these different homecomings at HBCU campuses. I mean, it's crazy. We're going to go through it in a moment. It's interesting that not too long ago there was video after video after video after video after video after video after post after post after post after post, where people were freaking out, with saying, "Oh my God, they're coming on the college campuses." And they're going to come and attack us, after this whole Charlie Kirk thing. And oh my gosh, they're going to come and get us. Hold on for a second here. Let me see. Sorry. Yeah, they're going to come and get us. Let's see. Yeah, they're coming to get us. And I had to take care of something. Oh my goodness, they're coming to get us. When the story came out finally about the young man by the name of Trey Reed that was found hanging, they went ahead and rushed and did an autopsy and found out, unfortunately, he self-deleted. He did that. But people did not want to believe that. What they wanted to believe was their narrative. They wanted to believe that somehow white people were sneaking on HBCU campuses in the middle of the night and was just snatching people up and just hanging them. But in this particular case here, we, once we dug in and actually took our time and looked through it, we saw that even on the local level, there were black folks that were involved in government and police and everything else that were on the ground investigating this thing. And they concluded with the autopsy, they said, "Hey, we looked at everything. Unfortunately, it looks like this young man basically decided to end his own life," which is a very tragic story in and of itself. But what was even more tragic was the fact that there were many people who did not want that. They didn't want that conclusion. And so here you come with what's his face coming in and saying, "Oh, I am going to pay for an autopsy. We're going to do it," which I said in my earlier videos. I said, yeah, the family should do their own autopsy. I mean, because why not? In a situation like that, you want to be absolutely sure that, that there is nothing else going on in this situation. Hold on for a second. You want to make sure that there's no other situation going on with this whole autopsy situation. Well, Colin Kaepernick, he jumped on the scene and said, "Okay, I will pay for it." Now, I want you to keep something in mind here. When they did the first, when the local and the state, when they did their autopsy, people found out it was like less than a week. The information was out. Colin Kaepernick, and that side, he pays for an independent autopsy. From what we understand, the results are in, but they're not releasing it to the public. Gee, I wonder why they're not doing that. How is it that the state, the local, and the state government was able to get an autopsy done just like that, but the independent one, well, we got to really take our time with this, and we got it done, but we're not going to release it yet to the public? I want you to understand something. There are powers that should not be, and a lot of times these powers that should not be look like you, have your color, look like me, have my color, that want to continue to stoke the public, to get the public focused on fear, get the public focused on misinformation, get the public all stirred up and worked up and everything else. Because why? It profits and it promotes other agendas. And they will use you and your emotions to do that. You are their fuel. And they do this all the time. There's no reason, if this autopsy is done, there's absolutely, positively no reason why this autopsy isn't been released. Except for the fact they want to keep the carrot on the stick to get that black emotion up. Come on, that's right. That's right, little Negroes. That's right. Come on, get it up. Get it up. Come on, Chim Chim. Get that excitement. Come on. You can do it. Yes. More emotion. Yes. Keep clicking. That's right. Keep passing these videos. Yes. That's it. And people just keep right on in it. Keep buying into it. Won't take the time to investigate or anything like that. Won't ask questions, nothing like that at all. And then you had some channel out here. They went out here and it was some individuals that got up here on this channel, because I looked at it myself, and they were out here saying, yeah, well, we got the secret access to this autopsy report and all of this stuff. And what they're saying is this. Okay, well, why is it that the public can't see it? You see it, but why is it that the public don't see it? And then it came out, they said, no, they're lying. The family came out and said, no, they're lying. And this is why I tell y'all all the time, when you hear stories like this, please take the time, relax, wait for the facts to come in. And as we know right now with Trey Reed in this unfortunate situation, he's gone. Well, I wonder if Colin Kaepernick even took the time, since he's all into wanting to show up now in the general public and be a black savior. I wonder if he then is showing up for the family of that other black man, young black man, who recently decided to end his own life by walking in front of a train. I believe it was in New York. Now, I know I'm giving bad news here, but at a certain point, someone's got to stand up and start talking about this and asking the question, why are these particular stories are being automatically largely ignored? Colin Kaepernick, he going to do an autopsy for them? He going to pay for an autopsy for that? Of course not. Are we going to see a lot of posts going up? Oh my God, look what happened to this young man. You know, oh my goodness, it was a conspiracy. I know somebody did. No, nobody cares. They don't. Just saying. And you know I'm talking right. But anyway, let's go back here. And there are several stories that came out, because this video isn't about that. Let's talk about these recent stories that have been happening on these college campuses. There's been all of this fear about, oh my goodness, there's white people, they're going to come and start sweeping over across HBCUs, and they're going to start attacking HBCUs and all of that, right? Okay. Well, none of that happened. None of that happened. But I will tell you what is happening. Let's take a look and see what's happening in the news. Let's go ahead and get that. Not that. That was me working on my, let's see, on this right here. Let me see. Here we go. That's what I'm going after right here. At least 1 dead and 3 injured after shootings at Mississippi universities. The shooting at historically black institutions occurred within about 24 hours of 3 other shootings across rural Mississippi that left at least 8 people dead. Hold on for a second. 8 people? Ain't nobody talking about this? Nobody? You just gonna go on like none of this has happened? Are you kidding me? When I told y'all, I said I was taking a break a little bit. I was just stepping back. I was like, I'm done, and I am. I really am, because it's this kind of stuff here. This kind of stuff ain't gonna get nobody's attention. This stuff here, bodies, black folks, by other black folks. Oh, nobody. We don't want to click on that. Oh, I already know what you're gonna say. Let's read the story. At least 1 person was killed and 2 others were wounded in a shooting at a university campus in Mississippi on Saturday night, as a separate shooting outside a college football stadium in the state capital left a child injured, the authorities said. A child, a black child. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody. The shootings, both at historically black institutions, occurred within about 24 hours of 3 other shootings across rural Mississippi that left at least 8 people dead. 2 of those earlier shootings occurred on public high school campuses that were hosting Friday night football games. That show up on your timeline? On Saturday night, 1 person was found dead and 2 others with apparent gunshot wounds after a shooting was reported around 6:30 p.m. near a building at Alcorn State University in Lorman, Mississippi. The Mississippi Department of Public Safety said in a statement The university later said on social media that the campus was closed until further notice. This is the second HBCU campus in less than a month that had to shut things down because folks were shooting on the campus. Yeah, get quiet. Go ahead and stay quiet. No arrests have been made, and the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation was taking over the investigation, the Public Safety Department said. Separately, a shooting in a tailgate area outside a football stadium at Jackson State University on Saturday evening left another child, wounded in the abdomen, said Bailey Martin, a spokesman for the Department of Public Safety. The child's condition was not immediately clear. The department said no arrests have been made. Tyree Jones, the sheriff of Hinds County, said in a statement that the officers were clearing the stadium and the tailgate area. Alcorn State University is near Mississippi border with Louisiana, about 75 miles by road southwest of Jackson. The shootings on Friday and Saturday occurred over homecoming weekend, a poignant and celebratory ritual in Mississippi, particularly in rural areas where people return to small towns they left after high school. In Heidelberg, Mississippi, 2 people were killed late Friday on a high school campus. 6 others, back it up. In Heidelberg, Mississippi, 2 people were killed. So this is more bodies stacking up. 6 others were killed. Did you hear what I just said? 6 others were killed early Saturday as a crowd celebrated homecoming weekend on Main Street in Leland, Mississippi. No arrests have been made in either case as of Saturday evening. And you want to know why in many of these cases the arrests aren't immediately made? Because there's a whole culture of I ain't saying nothing. A third shooting took place Friday in Rolling Fork, Mississippi, on a high school campus after a football game. A 17-year-old was shot twice and was in stable condition as of Saturday night, said a spokesman for the Sharkey County Sheriff's Department. 2 people were arrested after the Rolling Fork shooting, and they were each charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. Stay quiet. All these bodies, and we know these are all black bodies here. Children involved. But y'all want to raise pure hell about, oh my God, the ghost of Charlie Kirk is going to come and take over our campus and we got to do something to protect our campuses because they coming at. And the irony of ironies that takes place afterwards. It ain't that. HBCUs now, these HBCUs are becoming shooting grounds, becoming shooting galleries. Here's another story. Montgomery shooting shatters a weekend of celebration. A night meant to celebrate HBCU tradition turned tragic late Saturday when gunfire erupted in downtown Montgomery, Alabama, killing 2 people and injuring more than a dozen others during a weekend packed with events surrounding historic Tuskegee University and Morehouse College Classic football game. The shooting broke out around 11:30 p.m. near the intersection of Bibb Street and Commerce Street, an area crowded with thousands attending Classic, the Alabama National Fair, and homecoming celebrations. Montgomery police say the violence appears to have started as a targeted attack on one individual before others in the crowd pulled out weapons, leading to a chaotic exchange of gunfire that sent people running for cover. Officers on patrol were reportedly within about 50 feet of where the incident began, but were unable to stop it before dozens of rounds were fired. Multiple firearms were recovered, some equipped with high-capacity magazines, switches. 2 victims lost and several young people wounded. Authorities identified the victims who lost their lives as 17-year-old Jeremiah Morris and 43-year-old Shalonda Williams. What happened to all to say their names? Why can't we say? Why ain't anybody saying their names? Jeremiah Morris. Did I miss that hashtag? Did we miss that hashtag? Maybe it's something going on with my phone. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe my Twitter's broken. Maybe my TikTok is broken. I ain't seen no Jeremiah Morris and any hashtags for that name. Any hashtags for Shalonda Williams? Oh, I get it. It doesn't fit a narrative, does it? Among the more than a dozen injured, 7 are under the age of 20, highlighting the toll of young people who have come down to enjoy the festivities. 3 remain in critical condition, and 2 of the wounded were juveniles. 1 still in life-threatening condition as of Sunday afternoon. The tragedy struck hours after crowds cheered on the Tuskegee Golden Tigers and Morehouse Maroon Tigers in one of the most celebrated HBCU football rivalries, turning a day of pride and camaraderie into grief for students, alumni, and families. And then they go on and talk about, they're gonna get to the bottom of this, as we all hope they do. But maybe I'm just, overreacting here. After all, maybe I'm overreacting. I'm old. Yeah. Maybe I'm overreacting here, but maybe you can make that case. Maybe you could. I don't think I am. But it doesn't stop there. As you can see, there was another shooting. 18-year-old charged after 2 separate shootings at South Carolina College. Folks, this is all in October. This ain't September. This is October this year. We're not even halfway through the month. And we got bodies all spewed out all on these in these HBCU areas. Because let's be clear, they didn't take place. Some of these shootings did not take place on the actual campus. Some of them took very close to it, where there was campus activity going on, like football games, okay? Orangeburg, South Carolina. Authorities in South Carolina say 18-year-old man has been charged after 2 separate shootings that took place on the campus of a historically black university. Now, this one did. South Carolina Law Enforcement Division launched an investigation Saturday following 2 separate shootings at South Carolina State University in Orangeburg. Authorities confirmed a woman was killed in one incident and a man was injured in a separate incident and taken to the hospital. Law enforcement believes the shootings are not connected at this time. Officials identified the female victim as 19-year-old Jaliyah Butler. She was pronounced dead at MUSC Health Orangeburg, and an autopsy is scheduled later this week. Colin Kaepernick, I don't know if you hear me, bro. Are you gonna pay for an autopsy? Are you gonna pay for this autopsy here, Colin, whatever your name is, Colin Kaepernick? You gonna pay for this autopsy? Huh? Are we gonna do a hashtag thing for Jaliyah Butler? Did any hashtags coming down? We're gonna do a hashtag campaign. What we're gonna do about the family? We're gonna come and we're gonna stand with the family and all that. Crump, is he gonna stand with the family on this one? Yeah, stay quiet. Stay quiet. See, now I'm just gonna say my thing and I'm keep on moving. I'm gonna be a pulse. People don't want to be a pulse when they see other black bodies falling to the ground. Doggone it, I'll be a pulse and call this stuff out for what it is. South Carolina officials confirmed the victims were not students, but instead were visiting guests who attended homecoming activities. And they said they arrested an 18-year-old Matthew Daniel McCoy. He had been charged with pointing and presenting a firearm at a person and carrying a weapon on school property. According to arrest warrants released, McCoy had a loaded Glock handgun in his vehicle, which was parked on the campus. After seeing a fight between 2 groups, he allegedly grabbed the gun from his vehicle and shot twice towards an unidentified male wearing a black and red hoodie. There's no confirmation that McCoy was involved in either of the shooting that took place that took the life of Butler or injured the male. South Carolina State announced that classes have been canceled on Monday as the school remains on lockdown. Amazing, isn't it? It's amazing, isn't it? And let me just say this, every now and then I get people that leave these silly behind comments. And yes, I'm talking to some of you brothers or so-called brothers that anytime I talk like this, you get mad at me and say, why are you always talking down on black people? Why are you always talking down on us? I'm talking down on the fact that there's a collective out here, not all black people, but there is a collective, a significant collective that will see stories like this and won't say anything about it. But the moment we point this out and say, hey, this is a problem, we need to do something about it, let's talk solutions, you get mad. Why are you always talking down on us? Every time I get on this microphone, I'm giving solutions. Every time I'm walking people through, you want to get low ratings, you want to get low view counts on your videos, start talking some solutions. Start talking about some tangible things you can do step by step to eradicate and to get rid of this stuff. Start bringing the paperwork, start bringing the blueprints in and saying, okay, let's sit down, let's talk, let's get through this, let's fix this. And watch how you clear the room. It happens all the time. That's why I said I'm done. I'm done in this platform. I'm shifting my attention to other things. But this right here, I said, wait a minute. In less than a month, all of this is happening on HBCUs. Nobody's saying nothing about this. Nobody. But I'm supposed to flip out because Trump said something? I'm supposed to flip out because, oh my God, did you hear what so-and-so said? It's some video going around with some pastor talking about, it's a white guy. He was saying that, according to the Bible, we should, we're supposed to take some of these children out and we're supposed to wipe them out or whatever he was saying, right? I already seen the video. Please don't send it to me. Frankly, I don't care. I hear what he's saying, but how about take care of your own people first, okay? We talking house business here. He's not a factor in this situation, okay? I don't care about that. There's some of y'all be talking about these white people all the time. Every time they fart, every time they burp, you the first one there. I don't care about white people. And then you the main one be up there. Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? Did you hear that white person? That white person said that we're the people. That white person said that we're the chosen people. And you the first one there just taking notes and being like, see, I knew it. I knew they always up in our business. And you just taking notes. Everything they say, it's like you just do not have the ability to stay in your lane and handle business in-house. I don't care about what these folks saying. I do care about these kids on these HBCU campuses and the fact that they can't stay safe in their own backyard. I do care about that. I do care about that. Now, what are some solutions that we can present in situations like this? Okay, let's talk. What are some solutions that we can fix on this? Okay, number one, again, it starts with health. It starts with your health. I ain't just saying this, y'all make sure you go to Samba Tree. Forget that. Let's just pretend for a moment in this conversation, Samba Tree doesn't exist, okay? We ain't talking about that. It starts in the home. It starts in the home. What happens is a lot of these people, a lot of these individuals, first of all, let me be clear with all of these people, when you start talking like this, it ain't all black people. Nobody's saying it's all black people. We already know there are numbers of black folks out here that do not carry on and act like that. Okay, so we already clear on that. This does not represent all black people. Do I need to say it in another language? I'll learn it and then I'll tell you. This is not representative of all black people, okay? But it does represent a significant amount that we do need to talk about. Number one, it starts in the home. It starts in the home. Community starts in the home. If you come from a broken situation, right? Where and it's not just you don't have a father in the home or you don't have a mother in the home, but if there's dysfunctionality in your home, right? What do you think is going to happen when you go into a college campus community. You're going to bring that dysfunctionality into a college campus community. What do you think is going to happen? And at a certain point, you just add more dysfunction, more dysfunction, more dysfunction, more dysfunction, and then you keep adding it over and over again. And what's going to happen? You're going to have a whole campus full of dysfunctional people. This is what's happening now. You want to talk about the reading levels on these campuses? You want to talk about some of the other things that are going on? We can have that conversation. I've looked at the numbers on a lot of these HBCUs. Am I saying that we need to shut them all down? I'm not necessarily saying that, but we also got to be real. We got to keep it real about where these HBCUs are. On a competitive level, we have to keep that real, but I'm not going to get into that. But community starts in the home. And until we start taking that seriously, you can't expect your baby, your child, they stumbled and fumbled, but they got through high school. Now they're going to go to an HBCU. And you as a parent didn't even bother showing up for any of their parent-teacher conferences. But yet you think they're going to succeed at an HBCU. Can we even talk about that? Are we allowed to talk? Yes. Here we're allowed to talk about that. I'll tell you. Yes, we are. Many of these young people that are moving on to these HBCUs, many of these HBCUs, the reason why they have as many students that they do, and this is not speaking of all students. A lot of these students that are at HBCUs are only there because they couldn't make it into these other schools. I will sell you that, okay? I will tell you that. I'm not saying that's for every student, but there's a lot of them that do fall into that category. But then you got to go even deeper. Why is it that they weren't qualified for these other schools? What were their grades? Were their parents involved when they were, in school? Were their parents involved? Were they showing up? Can we talk about that? Oh, we can't bring that up. Because again, if the parents weren't showing up in high school, what do you think is going to happen when they go on the college campus? What do you think? I don't care if it's an HBCU. I don't care if it's a predominantly white institution. I don't care. You don't think dysfunctionality at your house isn't going to change into some kind of you're going to become all formal and everything once you go on college campus. It never works that way. The standard begins at home. And that also ties into your health and your mental health. That's what I was bringing up, health, because that's all tied into your mental health. You need to have people in your life to teach you how to handle situations when you get into when someone disrespects you or you get into an argument. Why, when you see people automatically flipping to grabbing guns simply because you looked at me the wrong way, there is something off in their heads that is broken. And I'm not saying it requires pills. A lot of this stuff ties into what they did not get at home. And then you reinforce that with a bad diet, it just gets even worse. And then you add the seasoning of religion into that, it gets even worse. You can't just push these children, these dysfunctional children, into these situations and think that it's going to be some abracadabra and then they're going to just turn, all of a sudden they're going to become good doctors and lawyers and stuff. And it doesn't work that way. It never works that way. Community starts at home. That's where it begins. And right now we have numbers of people within what we call the Black community that are in dysfunctional situations. And they are not getting the help that they need when it comes to their health, overall health, their wellness of body and mind. They're not getting that. But what we have done is that we have treated this situation as, well, it's just what it is. Remember, I did a video a while back. I talked about, and someone was arguing me with this. I was talking about how the impact of stress, the impact of trauma on the human body, And then we were specifically talking about black women. But it's like I said, this goes both ways now. But I was in part of that conversation, we were talking about black women, and we were talking about what happens a lot of times when there's a whole lot of stress. Your body literally produces a chemical that actually turns in, it actually produces fat. And it's usually around like this area here, around the stomach area. And in a lot of cases, it's also on your back end. Okay, you could check this out on your own. And so when you see, and this is not applicable to all black women. I have to say that like 50 times because I'll get that one that will skip over that. Oh, you're talking about all of us. That ain't me because I have and it's like, okay, no. But what I'm trying to tell you is that you see this a lot. And what happens is a lot of people look at that and they say, man, that girl's thick. Look at that girl thick, man. You see, I like me some thick girls and all of that. And you're actually sexualizing stress, trauma. That's what's happening in a lot of these cases. Stress and trauma. Because when you're dealing with that, your body handles it in all kinds of ways. High blood pressure, other diseases and sicknesses and things like that. One of the things that we talked about this in the class that we did today, we talked about breathing exercises, and I showed them an example of that. What I've been putting into practice for myself now are breathing exercises, where I start off my day doing breathing exercises, and then before I go to bed, I do breathing exercises as well. This helps regulate your blood pressure. It also helps you with focus, lowering your anxiety. And it also, I was reading it, it also can help to contribute to your skin. You know, like if you have any kind of skin ailments, there's been reports of that as well. A lot of this, everything I'm telling you, they've done many, many studies on these breathing exercises. And they're like, man, I know people have been doing this for thousands of years, but they were on to something. So taking the time, doing little things like that can help and can be an aid and an assistance, you know, to help turning some of this stuff around. Then you got these idiots out here on social media that all they do is they'll hear a piece of a story and they'll run with it and have people all in a panic and a scare. And that's why we got to pray, y'all, because this whole thing's coming apart. Whoa, the sky is falling and all this stuff, and get you all stressed up and get you all worked up. Right. And you up here, yeah, you know, you getting all worked up and you only got you got that much information. And then a lot of these channels will not have the courage enough to go back and say, you know what, I got the story wrong. Let me come back and let me give you this is what I found out. Y'all, I got it wrong. That was my bad. They won't do it. They'll leave it up. Why they leave it up? Because they're getting too many clicks on that. They're getting too many clicks. Why take it down? I'm going to leave it up. What we try to teach you here on this platform is this. We talked about these situations. They were bad, right? Today in the class, we also talked about another thing we talked about too is your exposure to social media. Let me read something for you as I'm closing this down. I think this will be a good thing. I will read you this. I don't know if this is in the book or not. Hold on for a second, but let me read something to you. Hold on for a second. Let me move this over here and here. Here we go. I'm going to read something to you. In fact, I'll bring it up on the screen for you. Okay. This is something I shared with the class earlier today. Let's see. Right here. And then I'll show you the book too. I'll show you the book too. Again, this book is gonna, I'm gonna have it for pre-order tonight. This book will be pre-ordered tonight. You can save $5 tonight. Tomorrow it goes to full price tomorrow. So give me about an hour after this video that you're watching right now, and it will be available for pre-order tonight. This book is got a lot of stuff in it, y'all, and I'll go over it, okay, before we shut down here. But this is something I want to read to you. and then we're done. The psychology of scrolling, how social media shapes emotional energy. When we scroll through platforms like TikTok or Instagram, each post we encounter delivers more than just information. It carries emotion. Every tone of voice, facial expression, and word choice activates subtle responses in our own nervous system. Psychologists call this emotional contagion, the process through which emotions are transferred from one person to another, even through digital media. Language, imagery, and sound all transmit emotional valence, signals that the brain interpret as positive, negative, or threatening. Even if we only watch a video for a few seconds, which a lot of people do, our brain still registers that emotional signal, releasing corresponding neurochemicals such as dopamine, cortisol, and oxytocin. And I'm going to stop there for a second. So just imagine yourself when you are scrolling, you see these pathways. She's on this main pathway. It looks peaceful, right? Just the pathway itself. But then you got all these scary doors here. As you are scrolling, when you're scrolling in social media, every video that you come to, you may see it for a few seconds. It may be someone yelling and screaming. It may be someone arguing. It may be someone sad. It may be someone going crazy. It may be a bunch of other crazy stuff going on, right? And you may say, oh, I don't watch that. Okay, I'm gonna watch that. You're gonna laugh. You may cry on the next one, so forth and so on. And you just keep scrolling over and over again. Well, every little bit that you see, your brain picks it up, and it's like going through a grocery store. And what it's like you're just picking up a little bit and you put it in your basket. You're just putting it in your basket. You just keep putting it in your basket, even if it's just a little bit. You're putting a little piece of that in the basket. And by the time you get to the end, your basket is full. So let's get back here and finish reading this. Social media platforms are designed to keep this cycle going. Imagine standing in a room filled with beautifully wrapped gifts, each one promising something new. You don't know what's inside until you open it. And that sense of anticipation keeps you moving from one box to the next. The same mechanism drives endless scrolling. Every swipe creates a burst of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, feeding our curiosity and compelling us to see just one more. As we continue to scroll, our brains are rapidly shifting between emotional states. One video may evoke laughter, the next sadness, the next anger, jealousy, or fear. Each emotional response, however brief, activates a neural response. Over time, these small repeated exposures accumulate, what neuroscientists call emotional load, forcing the brain to constantly regulate and to sort through conflicting emotions. Research shows that this kind of constant emotional switching can lead to cognitive fatigue and diminished emotional resilience. Studies published in Clinical Psychological Science and depression and anxiety have found strong correlations between extended social media use and higher rates of depression, anxiety, and sleep disruption. These effects are amplified by the brain's reward anticipation loop, which can mirror the patterns seen in addictive behaviors. This is why many of you, when you finish scrolling through TikTok, you feel tired. In essence, what we absorbed online is not neutral. Every video we consume shapes our emotional and neurochemical state, not because energy is transferring from one person to us in a literal sense, but because our brains are wired to resonate. Let me say that again. But because our brains are wired to resonate, I can stop right there. Your brain is wired to resonate. The reason why some of y'all are on this broadcast with me right now is because something I'm saying is resonating with you. That's the only reason why you're on here and you're staying on here this long. The reason why you have a lot of people that may watch other platforms is because whatever those people are saying, they are resonating with that. When you see some of this horrible music that's out here and you're like, how are these guys getting all these fans and stuff? It's because it's not, and everybody focuses their attention on the entertainer, but nobody wants to talk about the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are in the crowds. Those are the people that we should be concerned about because they are resonating. Their bodies are literally resonating with the person on the stage. All right, let's go back. Not because energy is transferring from one person to us in a literal sense, but because our brains are wired to resonate with the emotions we perceive. Over time, this accumulation of emotional signals can leave us overstimulated, drained, or even depressed. Not from one negative post, but from thousands of micro interactions that the brain must continuously process. Let's go on. Understanding this doesn't mean we must reject social media altogether. It means approaching it consciously. Recognizing that what we choose to consume carries psychological weight. Every scroll is a small emotional exchange, and awareness is what allows us to remain centered, discerning, and grounded in our own energy. That's in the book. So every time you are scrolling on TikTok, and once I was, like I said, as I was writing this, because I did that part, I did write that. I just asked it to clean it up for me, my grammar and all of that. But every interaction, once I realized that, because I would be on TikTok and it's like, okay, I'll watch a few videos. And next thing I know, 15 minutes will turn into an hour. And then when I'm finished, I'm like tired and I'm mad and I'm all the emotions above. And then when I got to face my own issues and situations, I'm like, I'm all over the place. I can't focus because my brain is trying to focus on the madness that I just spent an hour looking at. Do you understand what I'm saying? And once I got it, I said, you know what? I'm done. Now, I'm not saying I'm not ever getting on like TikTok or whatever. I'll hop on it for a few minutes and then I get off. I'm like, okay, I'm done. Let me take the first exit off of Crazy Town. It was like that moment. It was like an aha moment. Once I realized it, I said, okay, I see it now. I got it. Every time I see these crazy videos and stuff popping up and all that, nope, I don't care. Nope, no, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see how the police, and the person, they're acting crazy and all of that, and they push, attacking a police officer, and a police officer reacts and all that. So I don't need to see that. That doesn't need to enter into this theater right here. It doesn't need to enter into this space right here. So this is why what I do, like I said, at the beginning of the day, I do those breath exercises in the beginning of the day, and I close my day doing those breath exercises. That's just some of the things that I do. Remember, I've been over the years, I've been saying what? Protect your peace. And what's happening today, you've seen the videos I've done. I talked about the percentage. When you look at the percentages of people on these various social media platforms, you will see that out of all the groups, Black folks spend when you spread it out. Of course, everybody's on social media, right? But we spend the greater amount of time out of all groups on TikTok and X or Twitter. When it comes to how that comes out, we have the greatest percentage of our group that are on. When you compare our group to other groups, we have the greater percentage. We're at the top percentage of individuals that use these platforms. That's TikTok, and then it's Instagram. TikTok, X, or Twitter, and then Facebook and Instagram. That's like nobody, and people still on it, but whatever. And I broke it out even more. I did a video. We were talking about how, what I was just talking about earlier, when you have this dysfunction, if the family is dysfunctional, what is happening? it's a higher probability that the children are going to they're going to find a community. And social media gives that outlet. Now, we're not just talking black kids. This is all children. These are all people. This is why when you get on social media, when you have people that spend you want to know why you have these stories out here where they're talking about, again, we're talking women, but it's the men too. They have these unrealistic expectations of each other. You ever notice that? Why is it that they just, well, she's got to be this and she's got to do this and she's got to have this and she's got to do this and she ain't doing this and she ain't doing that or whatever. And then likewise, it's like, well, he's got to do this. He's got to make 6 figures. He's got to do this and that. Yeah, but again, I'm my age. I've seen the transition. Now, there was crazy stuff going on even in my age, right? But social media has done something. And let me just explain that very quickly. What social media has become is become the new community. And it's a place where you can be anonymous and you can say all kind of crazy stuff. And so you got people who are feeding into this big old pie, right? And they're crafting in their minds, because after all, I'm this, I'm valuable, I'm this, and or whatever. And so this is the kind of feedback that you're getting in the community. You're putting that in your head. And so now when you go out into the public and you're actually interacting with real people, there's a lot of awkwardness. Social awkwardness is like it's a thing now. Where you notice like people, and this is across the board, it's like they get around other people sometimes and it's like, I don't know. They don't know how they react, but they get on social media. They will tell you a thing or two. So this is why we have to understand what's really going on here and why, again, the solution starts at home. And I'm just giving you some tips and things on what we can do on a practical level to help change this around. Not everybody's going to be fixed. I get it and I understand that. But this is what it is. You understand what I'm saying at the end of the day? And like I say, we're not going to be able to fix we're not going to be able to fix everybody. But you are listening to me. You get it. And you have some control, right? Anyway, so real quick here, let me jump back to here real quick here. Again, this is our book. This will be on pre-order. Am I on it? Oh yeah, here we go. This will be on pre-order. Give me about an hour or less, right? We're going to do it from tonight until tomorrow evening. Breaking the Chains, The Journey Beyond Belief. This is the book, but I'm also going to make the class available. The class will be available. Give me like a couple of days to edit the video. All right. So real quick, I'll just show you, the book itself and the things that we covered. We covered quite a bit. And in the class, you're going to get a bunch of stuff, not just this book, but there's going to be some slides and stuff that I was sharing with them as well. Let's see, the pillars of belief, myths and history. And then we go through all the different, when it comes to all the biblical stories that are in the Bible, the Bible stories, right? We look at the Bible stories and we hold them up against actual factual history. What were they influenced by, right? The great flood narratives. We look at the different previous flood narratives, the patriarchal narratives. We spent a great deal of time talking about Abraham and the influences behind Abraham. If you think all of this just started with the Bible, it did not. It did not. Okay. Moses and the Exodus. We talk about that. We go really deep into that and talking about that. We talk about the Ark of the Covenant. And I showed them examples of different arks that existed prior to what we call the Ark of the Covenant. All right. Deuteronomy 28. We take a look at that. We compare it to previous histories, that the Deuteronomy 28 was actually copied off of. All right. We go into that. Then we get into the story of Jesus. We talk about that and the influences behind Jesus. We don't go really, really that deep. There was a documentary, a short documentary I showed that really did a deep dive in talking about the different influences behind this figure called Jesus, right? In the class, I had to skip over Paul the Apostle and the book of Revelation, but that's covered here. And then we get into Western spirituality's impact on Black identity, the roots of Western spirituality. We basically talk about how, as Black folks, we were thrusted in from one construct that we had in Africa to being thrusted into another completely construct that not only where we just we were forced to accept it, but it also forced us to reject who we are. It assigned us a role. It assigned us something. And I did talk about, we go even deeper and we talk about what reparations really mean. You think it's a win, but we really go into that. And this whole cry for reparations is a part of the role that they have you playing in this construct. We get into that. Okay. We talk about, then we get into restoring the mind, how belief systems affect the brain and mental health. And then we get into that, talking about all kinds of things there. And then I have some appendix stuff in there, like I have healing practices for the mind, body, and spirit. And then I have some other stuff in there, stuff I wasn't able to get into the class, but it's in the book here. And then I have a section in the back here. It's right here. Hold on for a second. These are like pull-out sheets that I created for our research group, but I decided to put them in here as well. So I even have like these pull-out sheets as well that you can actually print out on your own. This is an ebook, by the way. The creation narrative. We have the closer look at the kingdom of Ouida, that whole situation. And I just made it into a quick note thing so that you can easily pull it out and you can study it on your own and share it with other people. We talk about bull worship, okay, and where that comes from and all of that. Then we get into the menorah. Oh man, the menorah, where that comes from. It doesn't come from what you think it comes from. We get into the biblical arc narratives. All this stuff is backed by factual information. This is not, I'm just pulling stuff out of the sky, or I'm getting ChatGPT to kind of echo my biases and stuff. No, I would tell ChatGPT specifically, hey, listen, these are things I wrote out and taught myself in the past. Now I want to put myself on trial, and I want you to cross-reference my stuff. And if it's something I need to change or adjust, let me know, because we got to stand on truth. And that's what I did. And so this is the result of what you'll see here. We talk about the fleeing of Egypt. Did they actually flee Egypt, or were they going back to Egypt? We talk about the Jewish calendar and what that, and looking at all of that. So anyway, so again, this book will be available this evening. Like I said, give me about less than an hour, actually. I'll post it on the community page. You'll see it. And then that will be, it's just a short pre-order. We're going to do $15 tonight up until like tomorrow evening around this time. And then after which it goes up to $20. Okay. So I just wanted to do that for y'all and make that available. But later on this week, we'll have the entire the video, the session that we did. It's about 5 hours. I don't have a price for that yet, but it will be very reasonable, of course. And you'll have access to the video, so you can follow along with the video. But you'll also get a group of slides that I'm putting together in addition to the book. So you're getting a lot of information when you go with this. This is over on sambatree.com. So make sure you check that out. But other than that, that is all I have for you guys this evening. Thank you so much always for tuning in. And let me get back on, and you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll be talking again soon. All right. Ava said, has the class passed? Yes, but you'll still be, just go back and rewind this video a little bit and catch up on what I was telling you, because there's still time for you to access some of those things. Okay, Ava? All right. Listen, Ava and everybody else, listen, you take care, and we'll be talking again soon.